Now, at least 4 fake websites have sprung up, fleecing unaware drivers on this first day of London's ultra-low emission zone being expanded across the capital. GB News learning that the scam sites are trying to trick motorists into paying the new daily charge of £12.50.
The scheme itself has established the capital as the world's largest pollution charging area, with a row breaking out between London's Mayor Sadiq Khan and the Transport Secretary Mark Harper.
Well, there's also a bit of a row outside Downing Street at the moment because there's a protest against the expansion taking place. Theo Chikomba, our correspondent, is there. And Theo, it's sounding pretty noisy.
Yeah, it's been pretty noisy for the last hour or so. People start to come here from different parts of London. Some have come from outside of London, but their main message here is to say this is not the plan that they think should go ahead. But of course we do know it's kicking in from today, that £12.50 charge for people living in London whose cars don't meet those emission standards. And of course this is not just affecting Londoners, but people who travel from outside of London coming into London as well. But the problem is a lot of people are saying we can't afford to buy new cars or new vans. It's affecting businesses, charities and so on. But we've heard from the Mayor's office saying this is the right plan. It's going to save lives. It's going to have long-term impact that will ensure that people can have good lives and breathe clean air. But of course some people criticise that as well. But we are kindly joined this afternoon by Gemma, who lives in the area of Bromley. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Just tell me why you are here this afternoon and why this is so important to you.
I'm here today. We've been to most of the protests since January. To be honest, it's kind of taken over our lives, and that's because we are just so passionate about what this is doing to people emotionally and financially. I've heard from parents that are going to be unable to take their children to school without paying £12.50 a day. My sister cares for a 93-year-old lady with dementia. She can no longer drive to see her unless she pays £12.50 a day to go and see her. They've built up a bond. They're close. This lady relies on my sister for her personal care, for her everyday care, and now my sister can't go and see her unless she pays £12.50 a day. And for what? That's not paying. That's paying for nothing. The air is still going to be exactly the same. Take the cars off the road if it really is about clean air. Paying £12.50 and still driving your car is just a cash grab. That's all this is a cash grab. It's all about money.
We know that there is a scrappage scheme in place so people can take their cars. This is for businesses, charities and people who have the opportunity to get some money for their car. What do you make of that scheme?
It's no good. It's not worth the paper it's written on. We have our own tree surgery firm. My partner's van is not compliant. He could get the 2,000, I believe, or whatever it is for scrappage. But how do we buy a new van that is compliant for £2,000? There's a cost of living crisis going on. We're already finding it extremely hard to make ends meet. £2,000 is not going to buy us a van, and we don't have savings, and we are unable to get finance to finance a new van. Everything is just putting people in more and more financial pressure, and I honestly think that come this time next year, I think there's going to be a real rise in mental health and people's suicide rates. I hate to say it, but I've seen people cry over this. I've seen people depressed over this. This is really, really going to affect people's mental health. It's just not fair.
Gemma, thank you so much for your time. Well, as you heard from Gemma, she's just one of many who are here who are against these new plans. But we've, of course, heard from the Mayor's office that this will indeed be positive for people's lives in the long term, despite having to pay £12.50 a day. And, of course, I've heard from the Transport Secretary this morning about how this is going to impact Londoners financially, particularly those who are struggling at the moment with the cost of living increasing. But for now, though, the noise is still increasing and many of those who are protesting will be here for the rest of this afternoon.
Theo, thank you very much. Possibly some good news for Gemma and other van drivers, because we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Well, white van drivers and others that are going in for work can actually claim tax relief on the ULEZ charge.
But it has to be for work purposes, not for commuting. So if you do have a white van or a goods vehicle, HMRC is saying you will be able to claim the tax relief on that charge when you do your account. So that is actually one thing that perhaps people should put into the calculations when they're looking at that £12.50.
Yeah.